Hey, what's up guys, back with the another video, and in this video we are going to add profile as well as image uploading feature to the user account that we created in the previous video series. So let's go and get started without any further ado. So I have already spun up my server and it's running on localhost port 5000, and let me open Postman. So here we have that Postman. And let me close that, everything that we have over here. Okay. So currently we have one user, and if I make a request to post API, that is localhost 5000 API user / authenticate, and in here we pass in our raw data with the JSON format. So in here we have username, that's nandymandy1, and in terms of password we have 123457890. so this was the user, and this gives me incorrect password, so this password is not valid. So let me put my valid password that I have, and then we still get incorrect password. So let me try with this one, send that, and yes, that's a password that we are working with. So now it's time to go ahead and create our other routes. So I'll go to Visual Studio Code, and this whole application is just on branch 5 that we have, and one quick change, that is find modify, it should be false. Now let me save that. So it will restart the server that we have. It is noticing for the change, and everything is running on the development script. So now it's time to go ahead and create the profile route. And for the profile in the models, I'm going to create a new file called profile.js, and in here I'm going to import schema as well as model from Mongoose. So we brought in the Mongoose package, and const profile schema equal to new schema, and in this I'm gonna pass two fields, that timestamps, we are gonna set that to true. Okay, so in the profile of the user, it should be, for example, we have the basic details like name, username, email, password, and verified. These fields are there, and then we are using this as like this. So now in the profile we should have something called social icons, social media links. So in that we are going to have a schema of having Facebook, so it should have a Facebook handle, and we'll add that. So that will be type of a string, required will be false, and in the same way we will be having a Twitter link. So this one is a Twitter. Then we have our LinkedIn. Then we do have Instagram. And last but not the least, GitHub Handle. So this is the social part of this profile of the user. Then we will have something called image path. So we are going to upload a user profile, or let me name it avatar image. So this is our avatar, and in here I'm going to save it in a string format, so it will be type string, and required will be false. So it is not necessary to put any image on this one, but we'll try to put one. Social has a Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and GitHub handles. Then for the avatar we do have a string, And let's go ahead and create the profile model. So profile const profile equal to model, and in this we will be using profiles, and it will use profile schema. And then we are going to export default profile from here. So we'll be exporting this default from here, but I haven't associated this profile with the user yet. So for that we'll be simply saying account, and that account will be having type schema dot types dot object id. So it will be referring to the type object id. It will be of a type object id, and it will refer to, so make sure this is referring to this name that we have. So it is referring to the users collection that we'll be creating in the database. So it will simply saying users. Okay, so in this way we can create an account of the user. And now let's go ahead and start creating that profile route. Since profile has an avatar image inside that, so we might be needing something to upload our image to the server. So for that we are going to install a package called Multer. So let me go ahead and install that. npm install Multer, and this might take a moment, and it is now installed. So let me go ahead and check that if it is added to the package.json file or not. And yes, Multer is now added. So let me close that up. So first of all, we are going to create a middleware called Multer Uploader middleware. So let me put that uploader.js inside the middleware folder. So this is uploader middleware, and in this I'm gonna import Multer from Multer. So this will bring in the Multer from the node modules directory, and I'm going to create a new function. So const file name, and this function is taking request, response, and as well as next. Okay, so it will be acting kind of a middleware. So I have already explained that how middleware works in the previous video. So that's how we are going to define one middleware for them. And here we are going to, it will receive a file from that. So from that we are going to accept the file name. So last index of, we'll get a file name. So let's say, for example, if we have any file name with the name called, let's say something dot jpg or something dot png, so we'll extract the extension of it, and that we can do by the simple JavaScript function of that. So we can get that last, we can define our extension like this. So file dot original, and it's not taking response, it will take file, because Multer will extract that file from there. Original name, and it will be n in small. So, and then last index of, from that we are going to get dot. So from the name of the file, if we have this file name, so from that we are going to extract the last index. Then once we have the last index, we will define extension. So first of all, it is going to split that up, split the whole file into this thing, and from that file dot original name dot substring, so substring, and we'll pass that last index of variable that we defined just now. Then from that we'll give a done, actually not done, it will be next, and it will take null, and then we'll pass the name. So I'm gonna say img dash, and in that I'm gonna put date. So date dot now function will give me the date of the name, so that each and every file has the unique name. Then we'll append the extension of the file to the variable. Okay, so this is gonna give me the file name this will generate the new file on the server. Then we have another function, so I'm gonna say const destination equal to request, and it will again take file with the help of this multer thing, and then we are gonna give next keyword, so it acts as a middleware, and here we'll define the extension where we want to save the file. Here we'll define the directory. So currently we don't have any directory to save the file, so inside the folders, inside this src directory, I'm gonna create a new folder called uploads, and I'm gonna create a new file in that that's git keep .git keep. So it will be pushed to the server if this is completely empty, because by default GitHub on the git setup, it doesn't pushes the empty directories at all. Now it will return, so it will be giving next, and in that it will take null. Then here we'll define the directory, so I'm gonna interpolate that with the current dir name, so it will give the current directory name, then .to up, and it will go to the uploads from this directory, and then inside this uploads directory it will push that file. Now we have defined these two functions. You can configure multer according to your MIME types and a lot of other things, but for now this is fine. Then once we are done with that, we are simply define a const upload function, which is equal to multer, and in that multer it will take the option, so the multer that we have brought in from the top, and it will take the option of destination, and the second parameter will be the file name function. So these two things are passed into this one, and actually it is not taking this, so it will take storage. So in that storage, this will take a multer dot disk storage, and will pass this destination option with a destination function that we have just now created, and then the file name will be file name function that we just created at the top. And let me save that. So this is upload. This is upload middleware now ready to do. Now since the name and the key has the same, so we can get rid of these things, and let me save that. So this is the storage of the file, and we are going to export default from here upload. So now we can inject this one wherever we want and however we want onto the server. So for now we haven't done a lot, and now we'll start working with our profile routes. So inside our API routes, I'm going to create a new file called profile.js, and actually it will be profiles.js, and we are going to import as usual router from express, then const router equal to, we'll instantiate this function, then export default router from here. So once we are done exporting this from here, and now we'll start creating our routes. So let me quickly go to my users.js file, and let me copy one header from here, paste it to create profile of the authenticated user, and it will go to the profiles.api/create profile function, and it should be private, and method should be post, and the request will be multi-part form request. So we have these two things. Now router dot post, and in here Now we'll bring in, it will come to this API slash create profile, and then it will take asynchronous request and response. Okay, and now in here we can, first of all, we have to authenticate because this is a protected route, so we need to bring in our auth guard, so that we can bring in from to up, we'll get into the middlewares, and from the auth guard we'll bring in our user auth. So let me check that if it was exported by default. No, it wasn't exported by default, and now we'll bring in our user auth. So we'll change that first of all, user auth, so all the authenticated users are only allowed to create their profile now. Now once we are done doing that, we need to bring in our uploader middleware, so which will extract the image from the request. So that will be uploader from to up, we'll get into the middlewares and we'll bring in now this uploader, and now we'll use that uploader here. So we'll simply say uploader dot single, so because it is gonna just take the single file, and here we'll pass in the field on which our file is appended from the client. So let's say avatar will be the field, and let me put a console.log request.body, and let me show you what happens. Console.log request.file, and we'll return res.status of 201.json format, and this will pass our message testing. Right now I'm sending testing over here, but it should do our job for now. And let me see on the server if it is not breaking. Yes, it shouldn't break, but because we haven't yet added this profile route to our main app. So let's go ahead and do that. So in here I'm gonna import profile APIs from API slash profiles. Okay, and we are gonna use that, so let me copy that, profiles profile APIs. So now this is injected, and let me see, nothing is breaking, so everything is working fine. So let's go to the Postman for now, and in here I'm gonna make a post request which will go to localhost users. Actually it should go to the profiles API slash create profile route. Let me check that. Yes, it is create profile route, and in the body I'm gonna go with the form data right now, and in here I'm gonna pass in field first of all, so it should be a file field, and remember this is coming from our avatar, so let me copy that, so it will extract the file from the avatar only. Now I'm gonna select one file, and this is my logo that I have, and let's say test, let me Facebook Nandi Mandi 1, actually Maurya Narendra 11. Twitter, we can append a lot of things into the form data. Twitter is dev @95. I don't know what it is. I don't use Twitter at all, so I don't know. Something, I'm gonna write something. Instagram, you can follow me there. I am not very frequent user of it. Instagram, it's Maurya Narendra 11. Then we have a GitHub. Yeah, you can get in that. I'm highly active on this one. So now I have appended these many fields: avatar, Facebook, and these are text fields, and this is a file field. And now if I make a request on this, we are getting unauthorized because we don't have the token. So inside the headers I'm gonna put authorization, and let me quickly copy this key from bearer token that we have from this one. I'm gonna paste that and send that. We are getting some issue, so let's check what do we have. Here we getting last index of is not a function, and yes, it is because in uploader.js this is O capital, and now I shouldn't break, I think. Okay, so now if I send this request, we get our message testing, and if I go to the uploads directory, you'll find my image that is uploaded over there. So this is the image that is now uploaded, and if I go to the request object, we have a incoming data that is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram that is there, and even the file is also there. So this also gives path in which we have the path of the image. So we can make the use of this path that we have. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me quickly delete this one for now because we don't need that. Even our profile schema needs our avatar, account, and a lot of other things. So we are gonna bring in our profile model from 2 up, and we'll get into the models and we'll bring in our profile. But so far we haven't exported this profile, so we'll get here export all default as profile from our profile. Let me save that, and we'll bring in here profile. So our model is now there, and we are ready to go and create our profile. So instead of this testing, I'm gonna get rid of everything that we have, and we are gonna wrap everything inside try and catch block. Okay, so we are gonna wrap everything inside a try and catch block. So from the request object, we are gonna extract our body, as well as we are gonna extract our file request. And in here now we are going to create a new profile so we can make the use of it. And also from the request, we want to extract our user, request.user. So we are getting these fields because it's a protected route. So from the auth middleware, we'll append the user to the request object that we have, incoming request object, and now we can create our profile over here very easily. So let's go ahead and do that. That profile equal to new profile, and in that we're gonna pass in social accounts, and that will be request.body, and actually it will be body. Then we have a second one that is account, so it will be associated to the account of the user.id. we can get that. And let me go ahead and check our user function. So it is getting id field only, _id. So account equal to user._id. Then we have an avatar image. So for the avatar image, make sure you remember this thing, that we are getting inside the path of this request.file object. So we can play around with this, and we can get this thing last png that is written there, img name. So we can do that. So let's go ahead and do that simply by saying let path equal to file dot path dot split, and we'll split it by backslash and uploads. So this will be the splitted. It's very simple actually. So uploads, and this will give the index of this to file, and we are interested in the first part. So this is the path. Now we'll make it as a URL. So for that we have already defined a constant called base URL. From we'll go to up, from the constants we'll bring in our base URL constant. So inside our constant, let me check that if we have, yes, domain. That's not base URL, it's domain. So we'll bring in our domain and we'll append our, actually let me make this thing, so it's just a split function, domain plus this thing. Oops. And here avatar will be our path, and let's save it, and let me put a console log. Right now we are not going to save it, so console.log user profile and user, actually not user, it will be profile only. So we are gonna save that, and we are gonna return res.json message. Let me put testing again, and we are not gonna stop this request, so in here in a catch block we'll return that again here into that, and we'll throw that error. So we'll put a console logs in order to catch that for now in a testing one. Let me save that, and our server should run just fine, and yes, it is running. So now let me put another request and send that. We are getting testing back, and now you can see we have a social. Inside that we have our Facebook and all sorts of links, and you can see we have an avatar URL also there. But right now you can find 2 slashes, so that's that is because domain already contains 1 slash. So let me put backslash again, and let me make that request again, and now you can see we are getting proper URL. But let me copy this URL, and if I go to my postman, or you can even go to the browser, let me make a get request and send that, and we shouldn't get anything. And that is because our code is working just fine, but it is not able to know, it is not knowing this is a static directory where it should serve these things as a static files. So let's go ahead and do that. So inside the main app.js file or index.js entry point of this application, we'll simply say app.use express.static, and in this one we'll set that static directory as an uploads directory, and we'll bring in a path module. So let me go ahead and bring in path, and actually we are bringing join from path, and this is join from the path, and in the uploads directory we'll put this static directory. This will set this uploads directory as a static directory, and in here we'll simply pass our stuff. So we are gonna join current name, and we are simply going to uploads, and actually this is not there. So uploads directory is now becoming our serving as a static directory of this Express application. So now if I send this, we should get back that image. So we are done with this thing, and now it's time to go ahead and save this profile URL, profile object that we just created. So in here we'll simply say await profile.save. We save our profile, and in a message, profile created successfully. Okay, and in here unable to create your profile, success will be false. Let me copy, and in here with our success flag will be true, and with the status of 201, that is resource created, and here we have a status of 400, which is some kind of error. And let me remove this console log error for now, and this one also too. So let's go ahead and do that again. So I'm gonna create this profile now. So it's inside the body, it has a avatar, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, GitHub, and our avatar file. Let me send that. Profile created successfully. And if I go to the Docker container, docker exec -it mongo image with the mongo container and show dbs. Okay, it's exec show dbs use auth app tutorial show collections. We have a profiles collection now created. So db.profiles.find.pretty, and we have our social links, our account, as well as our avatar image, and everything is there. So now it's time to go ahead and create a route to get a authenticated user's profile. So here we have it, and remember this is a multi-part request. So let me copy, paste it, and this will be of type get to get the authenticated user's profile. Get profile, actually my profile, so it will give me the profile, and we are simply gonna say router dot get my profile, and it will take, it is gonna be authenticated request, so we will use this user auth middleware, user auth, and it will take async request and response, and in that we are gonna wrap everything inside try and catch block, and we'll simply say let profile equal to await profile dot find one, and actually find one, and we'll pass in our query, and account to which associated will be request dot user dot underscore id. So it will get the profile of the user associated with that id. Return res.json in case of any error with a status of 400. Message will be our unable to get the profile. Success flag will be false, and in here if not profile, so if there's no profile associated with this user, so that means that user haven't created that profile, so we'll simply return that success with 404. Your profile is not available. Okay, but if there is a profile, we are gonna again return this request with 200 status, and profile is true, and we'll return our profile object that we'll get back. So let's go ahead and test that out. So I'm gonna go to this route, paste it, my profile handle, and in headers I'm gonna put authorization key to my authenticated token that I have just now created. So let me copy this, paste that up, and we'll send that cannot get profile API, profiles API my profile. So here API is not returned. And now if I send that, we should get our profile back from there. So we are getting our profile, but right now I want to add my username as well as fields, all that, whatever. And remember that with the account, we have the ID associated with that field, with the user ID. So now we'll get that too. So the way we can do that by simply chaining another method that's called populate. And in here we'll pass account. Let me save that. So now it is going to populate with that. And now if I send that, we get our account status too. And it is also returning the password also. So which is going to be very dangerous thing to do on the front end, to expose the password hash. So we are going to remove that. So just after that, I want whatever the fields that you want. I want name, username, email. So we'll simply add that. Name space email and username, and let me save that. So we want only these three fields, and now if I send that, we get only these three fields from there associated with that user. So it is very simple and straightforward. So now I want to create another route where user can go and update their profile. So let me copy that description header that we have, paste that to update authenticated user's profile, and it will be again gonna be a multi-part request. Update profile route, and access is again private, so I'm gonna quickly copy everything, this router line, only this much part, not too much. Okay, and in here I'm gonna put try and catch block with an error, and let me copy this error portion of this file. And now we are going to use direct queries in here. So we'll simply say let profile equal to await profile dot find one and update, and in this query we'll pass our first parameter as the account, and it will be coming request dot user dot underscore ID. Then from the files, for the image, if you want to replace the image, so we'll again chain that up with our upload single route, and it will pull in this avatar. So I'm gonna chain that up. Okay, and now we'll firstly create this one. Actually, let me grab everything from here, only we are going to update it. So firstly we're extracting the body as well as that, then from that the request.user, so we are pulling out that account with the user ID, and now we are going to modify that. So in here social, and it will be body, and we'll replace our profile image, so avatar field with let me save that for now, this much, whatever we have. Avatar will be our path, so this path will be here, and we'll pass a third argument called new, and we'll set that to true. So the updated values will be now pushed into the profile, and now we'll return res.json with a status of 200, and we'll pass a success, we'll set that to true, and in here we are going to push profile and message variable. So message will be your profile is now updated, and return the updated profile. So it will in hand only, it will find that profile with this user ID, then update these values with the new part and new values, and it will return the updated object back. So for this one only we did in the first part, that was we removed this, we set this to false. So that's how it is. So let's go ahead and create let's go ahead and update this profile. So let's tomorrow I want to change this to Nandi Mandy 11, and instead of this image I want to put another image. So let me go ahead and put my image. So this is my image, and instead of this create profile it will be update profile. And one more thing I forgot, that is it is still a get request, so it's not gonna work at all. This is my profile, this is again my profile. So update profile, and it is a put request. So let me save that and hope nothing breaks up inside our server. Nothing is breaking. We go to here, we make it to put request and send that, and now my profile is updated. You can see we are getting a new username that we have, so with a 444. So previous profile has 11 in there, and now if I do again query, it is updated, and now it is taking this image. So with the image at the end of this thing, so if I go and copy this image URL, copy this, we'll go and make a get request, paste that, send it, and we should get the new next image that we have uploaded. So this is how we are going to update that profile, and it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's it for this video. And in this video we created a lot of things, like we created a user profile, we also set up the Multer configuration with our Multer package, and we created an uploader.js file and whatever we have, middleware, piece of middleware. Then we created this profile model where we had added the social links, and then we had created this update my profile, get the authenticated users profile route, authenticated users profile update, and I think we should create another one. So what I'm going to do here is fetch one profile with the username. So let's go ahead and do that. Router, let me copy that, paste it to get users profile with the username, and this is gonna be access, and this is get request, this is put request. Let me update the headers. This is of type get, this is type put, router.get, and we'll pass that API slash profile user, and here we are gonna pass that in a query string, or let's say in a params only, username and asynchronous, and this is type public, so anyone can access that. Public async request and response, and we need to bring in our user model first of all. So import and actually not in here, inside there only we can bring in our user model. So we brought in our user model, and in here I'm gonna wrap everything inside try and catch block. Oops. Let user equal to await user.find one query, and then this will pass that username as a request.params. Or what else we can do is simply extract that username from the params. So let username equal to request.params, and we'll pass that username. Okay, if there is not a user, so if there's no profile found, if that user is not there, so we'll send a return res.json with a status of 404, and we'll pass our success flag false. Message will be user not found. But if we do have a user, and in case of any error, let me copy that, paste it with a 400, something went wrong. But if we do have that user, so we'll get that user by the user ID. So we can do that. Let profile equal to await file.find one, and in here we'll pass in our account will be our user dot underscore ID, and we'll get that account, and now we'll return res.json with a status of 200, which is a resource. Okay, and success will be true. User will be user.get user info function that we have, so which is associated with the user model only. So get user info function, we'll call that, and it will return that user. Then we have a profile. So in that profile we can write simply profile. So let me save that, and let's test that out, test this query. So I'm gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste that, and here I want to pass my username, which is this username, nandymandy1. So now if I paste that, send that, cannot get API profile user, and that's why it is happening. API profile user, and after that we added our username. We don't have any headers. This is taking asynchronous response. Cannot get profile. Okay, here profile, and send that, and yes, it will be yes, and we get that profile. So here we have the user, we have the social links, we have the account associated with that, and we are getting that, we are getting everything. Inside that you can put those data in like whatever way you want to. Or let me restructure this data. So let me copy this, profile, and we'll pass that account part to like this. So now if I send that, we get this way, and it has a lot of spaghetti things. So let me clean this up a little bit. To object function. So this is another handy function that we have. So we're gonna spread that, send that, and we get a proper thing. So inside this account we have the user ID and everything there. We have a social link, we have an avatar URL, and everything is there. So all the things. So in this way we can make the get request, and we can get these profile with the Git handles directly. So that's it for this video, and if you like this video, leave this video with a thumbs up. Your support is very crucial for us, and we really need to grow. And thank you guys.